All right, guys, this one's called the standing adductor. All right, guys, this one's called the standing adductor. All right, guys, this one is called the standing adductor pullback. One of my favorites for working on the control of the adductors and hip internal and external rotation and really opening up that hip joint for mobility work. So we're going to need a band attached to some sort of pole, a tree, a squat rack, whatever it may be, and pick a pretty strong band. You're going to want a lot of tension here. And you're going to wrap that band around the hamstring right under the glute where it kind of meets the hamstring. And then you're going to step back and get a good amount of tension on that band to where you almost feel like it's pulling you. And you're going to step back with that band and have a great deal of tension to where you almost feel like it's pulling you forward a bit. Find a kind of shoulder width stance here. And then you're going to bend the knees and kind of come into this athletic position here, like a half squat. And then the idea is you should already kind of feel this pulling on the leg and maybe even a little stretch on that TFL and posterior hip capsule and the outside of the leg there. And now the idea is this working leg on the band, what I'm going to do is either keep this knee where it is or slightly slide it back as I engage my hamstring and glute. And then I'm sliding the other knee forward, which rotates my pelvis into this right side here. And I'm staying in that nice athletic stance. I'm keeping that weight directly over my ankle. I'm not coming too much into the toes or too much into the heels. And I'm really just feeling that foot pressure, pushing in the ground, pushing that left knee forward, right knee kind of is pulling back. And I'm pushing this hip socket back into the joint here as I hinge over. And then I can even posteriorly tuck my pelvis under a little and hinge. And then what I can do is turn even further into this hip here. So I'm really now internally rotated into this hip. My belly button, you can see, is facing the band. It's almost facing the camera here. And then you're just playing with this range, and you can even rock in and out of that internally rotated position, rock into the other leg, rock here, play with anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt, or tucking the pelvis. That band may slide down on you. You can kind of hold it with your hand. But the idea is that you're getting a good stretch here and you're really working on that rotation within the hip socket here. Now, some common things to avoid. What I see with a lot of clients, especially ones that are locked up and don't have the capacity to actually use their hip in internal and external rotation, is when they go to slide these legs, they're not getting much of this kind of knee separation here. What happens is their whole body just turns. And notice now where my shin is pointed in my knee. They're facing out. I want to keep that shin and knee facing forward over this foot. So I don't want to just externally rotate the tibia and the femur to where my leg is pointing outside. And then I'm kind of just rotating here with my whole body. I really want to make that pelvis work like it's on train tracks. So keep that knee forward and rotate into that leg versus opening up that whole leg like this. The other one I see is people want to just straighten the leg. Don't straighten the leg. Keep a nice bend. Keep a lot of weight. You should feel that hamstring and glute engaged, pushing down into the ground. And you're keeping that knee bent like here versus coming back here. Bend, left knee forward. Right knee either stays where it is or slides back slightly. And you're thinking about pushing that hip back in the socket. Huge stretch here. Big stretch on the TFL potentially. A lot of glute engagement and a lot of internal rotation. So You can just work that back and forth between internal and external rotation, switching the hips and then switch legs there. Honestly, guys, I could do like an hour-long workout with just that. It feels so good on the hips. Will help loosen up those QLs over time as well and take pressure off that lower back. So give that one a try. It is my absolute favorite for hip rotation.